Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Brittany Duncan, a millennial homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, or should I say buongiorno, and welcome back to Untraditionally Traditional, a millennial homemaker. This is your host, Brittany Duncan, coming to you with a full belly and fuller heart after spending a week in Italy with my husband for a baby moon to celebrate our marriage and make some memories, just the two of us, before our family adds a new member in May. After a trip I took to London over the summer with my mom and granny, I recorded an episode called Lessons from London. I'll link it in the show notes if you'd like to listen. And I really like the concept of unpacking what I learned and felt through travel. And so this is going to be a continuation of that series about what insights I walked away with after spending a week in Italy. But before I dive into that, let me share my 3 favorite things of the week. 1. After 32 years, I think I finally found my pen, the pen. And the best part is that I didn't even find it. It was gifted to me. And when I tell you it's magical, I am not lying. It makes me want to throw away every piece of technology and say screw it to efficiency just so I can write with it. Our neighbor, Michelle, went to Japan recently and brought Johnson and I back some goodies. And one of these goodies was this magical pen, a super fine point. Ink doesn't run, doesn't smudge, it writes beautifully, it makes my handwriting look clean and crisp, and I realized today that the ink is erasable. In a panic, I searched Amazon because I need this pen in my life for, well, the remainder of my life, and I think it can be sourced from Amazon, thank the heavens. Otherwise, I'd have to make a friend in Japan ASAP and buy every one of these pens they could get their hands on and ship them to me, and I'd have to pay taxes and tariffs. It would be a whole thing. So, thank goodness for Amazon. The pen, if you're wondering, is the Pilot Slim Frixion .38. I'll link what I found on Amazon should you want to try this magical writing utensil for yourself. Michelle, thank you. You have quite literally changed my life with this pen because I've been on the hunt for the perfect pen for as long as I can remember, and I am pretty sure that this is it. 2. Olive and June nail polish. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but if you're wanting a good at-home mani-kit, Olive & June is it. Personally, I use the long-lasting polish, and I love it, but I did just decide to treat myself to the gel mani-kit, thinking that once this baby comes, I'm going to have probably no time to actually paint my nails, but my thought is that while the long-lasting polish gives me a solid, 5+ days, with like heavy use of my hands. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm gardening, working out, that kind of thing. But from what I've read, the gel polish kit is salon quality, and I know that's going to last even longer. So if I'm going to spend the time to paint my nails, getting as much life out of that is going to be worth it once I have a little guy to take care of. So more to come on what I think of the gel mani kit, but I do probably, like a year or 2 years ago, I bought that just like regular polish manicure kit from them. And they do have 30% off of their mani kits right now. I don't know how long that's going to last, but if you've been thinking about it, now is a cheaper time to buy from Olive & June. 3, our bed. After traveling, especially with being pregnant, there's just no bed like your own. And Johnson and I both love our bed. We got a new mattress about 4 years ago, and my brother and sister-in-law recommended the mattress they use that subsequently their parents bought, and then we bought, and then Johnson's parents bought it. So it's, you can tell that like people love it. And it's the Sattva Loom and Leaf mattress, and we got the relaxed firm density, I guess is the word. It comes in either relaxed firm or firm. And the relaxed firm is like plenty firm. It's super comfortable. So if you need a new mattress, highly recommend. Love, love, love it. Okay, let's get into the lessons from Italy. The first one isn't Italy specific, but was reconfirmed with this trip. And that is that spending time with your spouse, that time spent is never wasted. Money spent to make memories with your spouse is never wasted. When I joked about my belly being full after the trip, but my heart fuller, it's a half joke because my heart truly is full. Without going into a monologue about how deeply loved I feel and how deep my love is for Johnson, I'll spare y'all. Just know that I really think the key to a successful marriage is quality time and sharing experiences with one another. It doesn't need to be a week-long trip to Italy. It can be a dinner, a coffee date, a day trip, a weekend trip. The important thing is that you intentionally connect with one another, share whatever you're experiencing, and limit distractions. Turn off your phone, put an autoresponder on your email, and focus on one thing, being with your partner and having fun. I recorded an episode a while back called The Rule of Twos, Keeping Your Marriage Alive. I'll link that one in the show notes too. But part of the concept there is that every 2 weeks, you take a date night or a day date. Every 2 months, you take a weekend trip together. And every 2 years, you take a longer trip together. Marriages, like anything else, need to be fed. And this is one of the most rewarding ways to do that. The next lesson, and this one is gleaned from Italy directly, is living slow is better. For how fast the Italians drive, they live slow. They savor small things. In Western society, we have glamorized the hustle, and the thing is, there is nothing glamorous about it. We've attached our self-worth to the title of our position at work, how many hours a week we pull, what our salary is. We rush through life, the truly beautiful parts of life that are so easily missed, to run back to what we think is going to make us successful. Here's the thing. Success can look however you want, and your version does not need to be boss babe, hustle culture, work hard or die trying. In Italy, there is like a palpable love of family culture, friendship, and savoring the arts, whether that's physical art, music, culinary creations. They savor. Something that was unexpected and so lovely was how people treated me as a pregnant woman in Italy. There was a palpable respect. I really felt like I was honored, as opposed to here in the United States. Often we only receive that kind of respect if our careers are our primary driver. Children can be viewed as a disruption to efficiency and career growth, as opposed to the greatest miracle and most important position one can hold, being a parent. In Italy, they haven't confused the narrative. Family is number one, and anything less seemed to be viewed as unacceptable. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the food. The food. Not an exaggeration. Every bite was perfect. Every meal was fantastic. The thing is that most dishes we had, ingredient-wise, were actually quite simple. Italians seem to breathe the motto, quality over quantity. Take cacio e pepe, for example. Translates to spaghetti with pepper. Right there, you have 50% of the ingredients in the dish. A good quality spaghetti, pecorino cheese, pepper, butter. 4 ingredients, and the Italians transform it into the ultimate food that feels like a hug. There are a number of dishes that follow the same theme, where the ingredient is the recipe. Think prosciutto and lemon, caprese salad, truffle anything, grilled meats. They don't overcomplicate. They give the dish room to let the ingredients shine. And this works because they are using quality ingredients. Lesson number 4, dressing well is inspiring. And I'd argue that few dress better than the Italians. Maybe the Parisians can share that spotlight. Again, that theme of quality over quantity can be seen. They wear cashmere, wool, and leather, and they look incredible. Regular citizens follow that model as well. And I imagine, unlike Western society where we chew up and spit out fast fashion like it's going out of style, because it is literally the second it hits the shelves, they buy quality and they care for it. As we were walking through the streets of Venice, I was admiring everyone's outfits, and I was thinking about the sweater I was wearing. A cashmere wool blend turtleneck sweater that my in-laws gifted me from Vineyard Vines nearly 10 years ago. I have worn this sweater a million times, and it looks amazing still. Was it inexpensive? No, but it has lasted. There are no cotton sweaters in my closet that have had the wear of this sweater and remain intact. When I thrift, I'm often looking for cashmere, and it can be found. Invest in a sweater comb. This gently removes any of the sweater balls or little fuzzies that form, and launder carefully. I follow the laundry evangelist's way of laundering cashmere and actually wash my pieces in my washing machine. Highly recommend his book, Laundry Love, where he breaks down how to do this without ruining your cashmere silk or wool pieces, but avoiding the dry cleaner, which is actually quite harsh on your pieces. full of really nasty chemicals. And it like makes wearing cashmere reasonable. I personally don't have the funds to be going to the dry cleaner every time I wear the sweater. Being able to wash it in my washing machine carefully, there is a process to be able to do this, makes it reasonable for me. For new cashmere, Garnet Hill is a really great company, and they run sales quite often. I have pieces that have received lots and lots of wear from Garnet Hill, and they still look like the day they were purchased. Maybe it's because it was winter, but the outfits in Italy were simple. They were not flashy, but they were elegant. Women wore makeup, but in a tasteful, highlight your natural features kind of way. They wore jewelry, and they had like a pretty scarf or an accessory that tied the outfit all together. They were not dressing to be the center of attention, but every single one of them caught my eye as being just so beautiful and elegant in their dress. What I didn't see in Italy, other than from Western tourists, was sweatpants or athleisure wear. And oh so refreshingly, not a single person in public wearing their pajamas. Actually, I barely saw baggy clothing in general. In the West, we've moved away from a tailored look. And I'm sorry, but the majority of Gen Z aged individuals or younger I see wearing clothes that appear to be like 6 sizes too big for them and intended for the male gender. Women have stopped dressing in a feminine way, and it makes me sad. So that's just my opinion. I was so struck by the beauty of the well-tailored outfit while abroad. They weren't flashy, they weren't showing off a woman's assets, but these women also like didn't look like they were hiding in their father's or grandfather's clothes. And I felt like my eye was like drawn to their face, their posture. They held themselves well. They just looked really amazing in these outfits. And I'd say like not everything was like tailored tight. Like sometimes they'd have a looser pant, but then they would have like a tailored top with it, or vice versa. If they had a looser sweater on, they would have a tailored pant. Something that gives like some shape to the woman's body. Same with like the male clothes. Like they were well tailored. If wearing baggy clothes makes you happy, go for it. But I'd encourage us all, when we get dressed in the morning, to ask ourselves why we're choosing to put on what we are. I want to be comfortable today is a nice way to sometimes cover up that we feel like hiding. And maybe I'm off base here, but that's something like we need to address in a way other than wearing yoga pants or sweats in lieu of a proper pant. A baggy crew neck sweatshirt in lieu of a proper like knit sweater. Let's like dive into it a little deeper as to, why we feel that way and maybe like come at it from an emotional point of view. Anywho, last but not least, a lesson not unique to Italy, but that I gleaned from this trip: say yes to what makes you uncomfortable. For my birthday, Johnson explained that he would like to gift me a maternity photo shoot in Venice. While we were on our trip, he had it all organized but wanted my blessing because traditionally I had always said that I didn't think maternity shoots were for me. Even though I have this podcast where I yak your ear off, I'm not one to be the center of attention, particularly when having a belly that rivals the Lorax. Johnson knows this about me and had done some recon with friends and coworkers, and what he learned was that moms who did maternity shoots were so glad they did, and the ones that didn't told him they regretted the decision. Armed with this insight and trust in my husband, I said yes. And I'm so glad I did, because while we haven't gotten the photos back yet, just the way I felt during the shoot was incredible. Was it awkward? Sure, at moments. But not really, because Johnson and I just like giggled amongst ourselves and had like our own little moments in our own little world. What I wasn't expecting was to feel so womanly and powerful, getting dolled up, putting on a nice outfit, and honoring my body in this form. Do I feel huge? Yes, but for good reason. I'm growing a beautiful baby boy, and that is miraculous. Really, doing the maternity photo shoot made me feel that way versus just like knowing in my head and like telling myself that, right? And to like really feel beautiful in it. So huge thank you to my amazing husband for encouraging me to honor this moment, this body, this chapter we're in, and to capture it with him. And there's no better note to end the episode on than that. Thank you for listening, and until next week, happy homemaking, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.